at our place. And then I guess Texas didn't beat the Yankees another game until this year.
Never.
And you know, we beat them the next day, luckily, because it was raining and the ball slipped out of somebody's hand, and you know, we wind up tying the series, then winning 2 games in Texas, and now phase 1. Then we go in, you know, in Baltimore. We had to play them to go to the World Series, and it scared the hell out of me because we had beat them like 10 out of 12 times during the course of the year, and you're wondering, how long can this go on? We beat them the first game, they beat us the second game, and then we sweep them in Baltimore, and then go on to the World Series. And right now, to be honest with you, I was so relaxed going into the World Series because
finally be in the World Series.
This is where you want to be.
Right. You waited a long time.
This is where you want to be, and you know. But we had to wait 8 days because we got rained out of Game 1. Game 1 was rained out, the World Series. So we waited, and because we beat Baltimore in 5, and then the you know, the Braves come back on the Cardinals. Cardinals had them 3 games to 1.
Yeah.
So we had to wait 8 days to play that first game, and then we got our rear ends kicked. There's no question. Andrew Jones, Andy Pettit got lit up.
Andy Jones hit 2 home runs.
He had 2 home runs, and so before Game 2, George walks into my office, and he sits on my couch, and he says, "You know, this is a must-win." Well, I said, "No kidding." But I did it.
Did he say that calmly?
But I did it in a kidding manner because, as I said, I was giddy, and I was. To me, this was a bonus. Now, I'm in the World Series, and we're definitely underdogs. So, you know, I just felt it was important to obviously win ball games, but I didn't feel good about our club. And I said to George, and I did this kiddingly, but I was half serious because we weren't playing with a lot of confidence. As you know, the first game we got beat up. And I said, you know, George, Maddox is pitching against us today. We may get beat today because we're out of sync right now. We're really not firing on all pistons. I said, but we're going to Atlanta. We'll win 3 there, and we'll come back and win it for you Saturday night. And I walked out of the office. And that's exactly what happened. And, you know, he thought I was some kind of genius, I guess, but I was just kidding. And probably the best decision I made, Mike, was pitching David Cohn in Game 3. And that was, I did that with a purpose because he was the only starter on my staff that had pitched in that ballpark. And that they call it the launching pad in Atlanta. And he won that big Game 3 for us. And of course, the Jim Leyritz home run in Game 4 and Andy Pettit.
The 1-0 Game 5.
Andy Pettit.
And then 3-2 in Game 6, the Girardi triple. Yeah. And still, I think, in the modern era, the best championship because the Braves were overwhelming favorites. Yankees hadn't won in a long time.
Yeah, Braves won the year before.
The Braves were heavy favorites in that World Series. They're up 2 games to love. And the Yankees finally win that night in '96. Now you have a championship. The city's lived this drama with you, with your brother, gone through this whole drama every day. And now, let's be honest, you're in your mid-50s, you've been a star baseball player, but now you own this town. I mean, you will become St. Joe overnight. You are in this town. How much did your life just changed overnight? You became a mega star in New York City.
I didn't believe it. I mean, I was on cloud 9. The city I was born and raised in, you know, Brooklyn, but you know, New York has been my home, became a small town. You know, they had the tree lighting last night. I turned the Christmas tree on back in '96.
Hell, you were Santa Claus.
It was everything. and just the warmth of all the people, all the fans. It was great. But one funny story. You know, my brother was waiting for the heart transplant. Well, it turns out I get a call. We had that late night in Atlanta, so now we're up 3 games to 2, and we have the off day, and I get a call that they found the heart, and I mean, this is drama, you know, day 1 drama, and now my wife, I go pick my wife up at the airport because, you know, the wives are allowed to travel on the charter, but no children, and she took our baby with her, so she had to travel back commercial the next day, so I went to pick her up at the airport, and I got back home. This is the off day now. I got back home, and there's a message from my brother Frank. Now, he had the heart put in this day, okay? And he's asking for tickets. And and it was sort of garbled, and I called the hospital, and they said, the nurses station said, yeah, I'll let you talk to him. He wanted tickets for one of the doctors. Now, I have this vision in my mind, you see these old Mel Brooks movies, that if I say no, they're going to unplug something. But that was crazy. But you're right. I mean, it turned into a small town for me, and it really changed my life.
And it was the rebirth of the Yankees into this modern era with a whole new group of stars led by yourself and your players. 97, 98, the perfect team. How about a word on the 98 team? I know the playoffs were, anticlimactic, but how about Seattle that year? People don't realize in that 98 season, there was a moment early that you're actually on the ropes a little bit. People may not know that now. You're in trouble. 98, you lose in 97 to Cleveland. 98, you're not playing well early, and you're in trouble. George is getting mad now in early 98.
Yeah, I think we lost 3. We lost to the Angels, then I think we lost 3 out of the first 4 games, or whatever it was. And then won the last 2 games in Seattle. And then come home, and George, the first one I saw at our welcome home dinner, he said, no, you're my guy, but I mean, I love George. I mean, he didn't like losing, he had no patience whatsoever, he loved to threaten you, but as I say, this was a gift for me, and I just, I enjoyed the relationship, but for sure. And you read Bill Madden's book. It was a good book.
Yes.
I mean, George can change his mind like that. If he feels that, he should have done something else, he'd want to change it, no matter how disruptive it may have been. So, getting fired certainly was understandable that could happen. But then we turned it around.
Well, turn it around and have the perfect season. The team wins 125 games. When did you realize, what part of the season did you realize that this was not a normal team?
Well, the year before, to me, when we lost to Cleveland, I remember going out there in the 9th inning, putting a pinch runner in for Paul O'Neill, and veins are popping out of his neck. I remember Bernie making the last out in that game, and I had to peel him off the steps. These guys cared a lot. And, I get a lot of credit for stuff. But, and I know Mike is a horse guy, you can't win the Kentucky Derby on a quarter horse. These guys were thoroughbreds. They wanted something very badly. They won in 96.